You ever just see a story about a paranoid deadbeat college dropout who survives on instant ramen and daily self-loathing and think, wow, I really relate to that. I'm gonna kill myself.
Suicide is bad.
Welcome to the NHK is a show dripping with hard-hitting introspective takes on what Nietzsche eloquently referred to as sad nibba hours. Apparently, there's this secret organization called the NHK, which exists for the sole purpose of destroying people's lives by indoctrinating them into becoming consumers. I mean, where's the lie? More importantly, what else is true? One day, there's a mysterious knock on the door of our main man Sato. He reluctantly opens it to find a cute girl and company who want to spread the word about the ongoing NEET crisis in Japan. He reacts about as well as you'd expect. It takes a minute, but he starts to seriously reflect on the choices he's made and the so-called life he's apparently living. That's when he makes a change. He cobbles together a resume, leaves his apartment, and he searches for a job, but flakes when he sees the same missionary girl from before. Oddly enough, she seems strangely interested in our guy, even going so far as to want to help him overcome his hikikomori problems. Now he's put in a precarious situation. On the one hand, he recognizes he has a problem and should probably accept any help he can get. On the other hand, therapy is cringe. Instead of being honest about his condition, he lies about having a job. And the frustration with his own nature causes him to barge into his neighbors to get him to stop with the 24-hour weed playlist, only to discover his former high school acquaintance, Yamazaki. The two reconnect, and Sato uses his old pal's college textbooks to prove to Misaki that he's living the dream as a game creator. She isn't all that convinced. So he promises to show her one of the games he made by the end of the month. Sato goes back to Yamazaki and explains the situation. I'm sure you all know it takes a great deal of time and money and personnel to make a game, but there is one type of game that even two idiots could make on their own in such a short time.
Hentai games.
Bruh.
And now we've reached the main plot for the show. No, not the hentai games part. The part about these three and a couple others just trying to accomplish something. Sato wants to stop being a hikikomori, Yamazaki wants to leave his mark on Tokyo, and Misaki, well, that one's kind of a mystery for the first half of the series, so let's just say she wants to believe in something and leave it at that. So why should you watch this show? Well, for starters, it's pretty funny.
Those are, research materials.
But the main appeal is watching these characters overcome the big sad. You follow the story of a lost man who's fallen so far into vice and despair that you're not even sure if he can come back. And in truth, he really can't. At least, not on his own. Over 24 episodes, you watch Sato as he starts putting himself back out there into the world he shut himself off to for years. My man is trying new things, he's setting goals, he's getting his life back on track, he's struggling against his own nature. Time and time again, he'll make some progress only to relapse or reach a new low. Anytime something goes his way, there's one more problem that pops up, almost like there's some kind of conspiracy against him. And it's not just him who feels that way. Each of these characters has some reason why they are who they are. Sato's problems may take the forefront, but that doesn't mean everybody else is perfect. Addiction, depression,
degeneracy.
It's all there. And the crazy thing is, it's not like Sato's situation is all that special. Why is he a hikikomori? Because he just snapped one day. He locked himself up in his room, and no one forced him out. Any one of these guys could have ended up like Sato. Some of them ended up worse. But the show doesn't try to make excuses for their behavior. If anything, it admonishes that kind of self-pity. They might be victims of circumstance, but the only thing keeping them from being happy is themselves. It's easy to blame it all on some conspiracy, but what does that even accomplish? If the conspiracy is true, then what? Are you just supposed to accept that? Lay down and settle for an unfulfilled life until your body realizes it's died? No, of course not. You gotta fight back, boys. If your life seems worthless, then we're gonna make it worthwhile. We're all gonna make it, boys. But you gotta get out there and do something. And that's exactly what Sato does. He and Yamazaki work aimlessly to create the best gal game the world's ever known. And by aimlessly, I mean they keep missing every deadline they set. Life kept getting in the way. Sato has his Coomer depression to deal with, and Yamazaki bounces between incel and simp depending on how much attention he gets. Plus he's got some complicated family problems to work out. There were points in the show where it seemed like the least important thing going on for them was working on some dumb game that no one's gonna care about. I mean, they had plenty of reasons to abandon the project and go back to being miserable, but they didn't. They stuck with it, and they saw it through to the end. And the result? Absolute garbage. We're talking bad like a AAA release in 2021 bad. But even though it sucks, it's still something they made. Proof of all their hard work and passion. And with that project finished, they could start a new one. I also really need to talk about Misaki, but I'll avoid any major spoilers so you guys can still go in blind if you haven't already. When I first watched this show years ago, I was concerned that she was going to be another one of, those types of anime girls. You know what I'm talking about. The random cute girl who, for whatever reason, just decides to hang out with a loser, and we're all like, yo, when they bangin' though? But that's not the case here, though. Right from the get-go, she seems too good to be true. Why would a random high school girl want to hold lessons for a socially inept freak at night in a deserted park? That's right. It's a conspiracy. Gotta say though, her interactions with Sato are some of my favorite parts of the show, especially towards the end. She feels like an actual character, and once you learn more about her, all the things she says and does take on a new meaning. I should also mention the girl who originally told Sato about the elusive NHK back in high school. Her life seems pretty great, especially compared to everybody else. She got herself a nice government job and a handsome boyfriend with a fat wallet. So why is she hurting inside? At her job, her ideas are ignored and everyone just mocks her behind her back. Her perfect boyfriend is more of a perfect employee, always putting his work over their relationship. She takes medication to numb her feelings of loneliness until eventually she can't feel anything at all. It's a conspiracy. Her perfect life is being ruined by the NHK, and in her mind, there's only one way to escape. Alright, enough of that depressing crap. NHK isn't constant melancholy. Most of the episodes are rife with comedy and some bog-standard anime hijinks. Now, this is just personal preference, but I tend to go with English dubs for comedy. Nothing against the Japanese, except for them blocking my fully coolly video, but the banter sounds more natural in dub.
Sato, you're not listening! I'm telling you, the dialogue you wrote for the heroine in this scene doesn't work at all.
You think so?
Not even close.
I don't know. It seems fine to me.
That's because you're a fucking idiot.
The episodes have a great sense of progression, with Sato constantly having to deal with new problems. Misaki and Yamazaki are technically helping him to become a functioning member of society, but they often end up teaching him the wrong lesson or putting him in a position where he learns new vices. Personally, I really enjoy the island arc. I mean, Sato slowly figuring out that everybody is there to kill themselves was pretty funny, and the way it ends with all their loved ones showing up really hits the feels. The only arc I didn't much care for was when Sato became addicted to online video game. No, it's not because I'm offended that we have yet another show ridiculing the most oppressed class in the country,
Gamers!
It's really just because it was super obvious what was gonna happen. Like, come on. He meets a sexy cat girl in an online video game who is just dying to be with him. I wonder who that is. All in all, Welcome to the NHK is a phenomenal anime that might just inspire you to make a change for the better. The characters are masterfully written, the music absolutely sends me, and the story hits close to home. So stop wasting your life and go watch this amazing anime about people wasting their lives by spending all day in their rooms jerking off, playing games, or watching anime instead of connecting with real human beings and discovering someone to live for. Montage?
It's time to wake up, Sato. You have to face the truth.
What do you mean?
The conspiracy has overtaken the entire world.
I'm not useless. I have a reason for being alive.
Maybe I could be living a decent life right now.
You have to sign this, Sato. If you don't, then you'll be alone forever.
What kind of screwed up logic is that?
I need Sato.
I'm telling you, a cute girl like you can have a great life without someone like me.
I mean, I've been searching for someone like him.
Why does everyone just want to fuck me over and screw with my head?
Are you lonely?
Not like it matters to me.
The plan for my entire life was written right there on the paper.
Don't say that! Stop acting like this is the end for you!
What am I supposed to do with myself?
Is life supposed to hurt this much?
I'm gonna die.
This is the only way to escape.
I don't care how depressed you were. If you'd have put off killing yourself for this long, at least you could have waited until Comic Market was over.
Leave me alone.
You really mean it, Sato?
Don't turn your back on me!
I gotta go home. Right now.
I'm so fucking stupid! Come on, just admit it!
They're all gone. What am I supposed to do now?
If you don't sign this, then I'll fall to pieces!
You'll be fine!
Don't ever let the world beat you down, Sato.
Could this be my second chance?
I don't want to be lonely!
A chance to start over?
ようこそ一人ぼっち
Well, that about wraps things up. I've got more trash on the channel if you're interested in that sort of thing. If you got suggestions for more anime, games, or whatever, just throw it in the comments. And until next time, Ave Maria, Deus Volt, and all the rest.